Our guys, trained outside all summer, so we were very confident in their ability to go back outside and, acclimatize, which they did, and got some good teamwork, 7-on-7. You guys were there for it, guys and gals. Good work today. I thought, the realistic expectation is that, there's a number of veterans back here that, they're able to, recognize and understand the way to prepare, in relative terms, practice, right? The way I wanted practice to go last year at this time, we were teaching them how to practice. So, there should be that expectation that, you come into practice one that guys know how to do the things that you expect to prepare the right way. And I think by and large that happened today. And then there's some young guys that are trying to figure it out, stay up. Don't pull a teammate down on the ground, run out, keep your helmet on, pay attention to detail, all those things. But that will come. That's part of our job in teaching, and making sure that it's getting done the right way. Protocols, procedures, I know we listed those to you relative to practice. We're opening up another additional practice to you. I think we're going to have 10 access points for you in practice. That should give you a lot of chances to evaluate and put the starting lineups together, both offense, defense. Make sure you email me once you guys put that together, so I'm in the loop. And then, we'll be transparent with injuries. We thought it was important, given the nature of what's going on today, out there relative to reporting, and gaming, that we wanted to make sure that we were transparent with injuries, not putting any pressure on anybody here to guess who's in, who's out. So we came up with a protocol and procedure that's similar to what the NFL does relative to reporting injuries. So we'll do that twice during the week, so you have a good sense of who's in what state. And then, we get to Saturday, if somebody was doubtful, we'll give you available or unavailable. The only caveat would be if somebody gets sick, we'll give you a sickness update as well. So those are some of the guide rails relative to what we're doing this camp. Obviously, the recent news is the health concern of Coach Lindsey. He is obviously, I'll stand by the statement that we released, and we'll stick with that. But we had to make some changes for hopefully just the immediate here, and that is that John Jancic, who was our special teams and outside linebacker coach, will move to the defensive line position, and then Bob Diaco, who is a senior analyst for us, will take over special teams and the outside linebacker position. Both of these are trusted and valued coaches that have had opportunities to work with me at multiple stops along my career, so I know them well, and will do an outstanding job for us in the preparation of our players going through camp. So, our thoughts and prayers are with the Lindsey family. So, with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Brian, here over here. Wilson, for the Advocate. Do you have a timeline?
And Wilson, congratulations on the ESPN award, well deserved. It just means that you're young, and we're all envious. Great work and congratulations.
Thank you, Brian. Do you have any timeline or expected timeline about Jimmy, when he might be back with the team?
Really don't. It's really in medical hands at this point, and we're trying to stay updated. We'll probably get another update sometime today.
Coach, during the one-on-one drills on the indoor, looked like the receivers are really getting the better of the secondary. I guess just what do you see as far as that battle? Is that typical for one-on-one drills? Because there's no pass rush,
and really, it's a really good takeoff question for us to really kind of when we observe these drills. We talk to the defensive backs about the deficit that they have in this particular drill, so they don't get frustrated. Because there is no pass rush, there is no clock, right? They're playing man-to-man on a field that's 53 and a third by 120, right? They have the whole field, and the receiver can do whatever he wants out there. So it's so important that they understand that the drill is really about their technique. It's not about a winner or a loser in that drill. So it's so important that technique is at the front of their mindset when they go into that drill. So we're really looking at that more than anything else. In the first couple of drill reps, we had safeties that had their eyes on the quarterback. You certainly can't do that in a one-on-one drill. It becomes a man-to-man drill. And so you're teaching that along the way. So the observations are right, but in the way you have to look at it is a slanted drill for the offense, and it's really built on the technique for the defense.
Coach, over here, Dylan Sanders, 24/7. The young guys at tight end seem to be doing a lot. What can you say about Markway and Pimpton and using their athleticism?
Yeah, I mean, you see Pimpton out there. He's a big body guy that has soft hands. Was my first, glimpse at him out there. And, he's certainly, if you watch tempo, he had a hard time getting lined up. But that's on us. We got to figure out how to get him lined up, maybe just put him in one position and go, because he certainly has the tools. And that's kind of what we thought. And he's much bigger. He's up to about 245 pounds already. When he got onto campus, he was, I think, 222. So he's done a great job of taking care of himself and doing the right things in nutrition. So, yeah, he looks good, and Markway's moving much better. He's leaned up, much more agile, because he's a big body guy that can help us. I think we've really built the depth there at the tight end position that we needed around Taylor. So I think it's going to be a good group.
Hey, Coach, here in the back, you talked about how much the team knows how to practice as opposed to a year ago. Are you excited about how much improvement you can make, how productive you can be in the next month leading into Florida State than, say, a year ago?
So I don't want to overuse this phrase, but I do want to say that there should be a realistic expectation that everything that we do a little bit better. Does that mean we're going to win every game we play? I'd like to, but I think that you have to have a realistic expectation that the work that we did last year, we should be able to build upon. So in all of the questions that are asked, I would say to you that we go in with the same kind of realistic expectation that we should be making some kind of incremental jump in certain areas. Does it mean you go from 1 to 10? No, but I think you can go from 1 to 3. Can you go to 8 to 10? Yeah, I think in those, those are what I'm saying are the realistic expectations across the board for every player. So they should be making those jumps. Freshmen, I think we have to be more patient. We've obviously got to teach more. But I guess that's how I feel about everything that we're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, Coach, without the new injury protocol, if you kept it as the same, you were concerned that because of the gaming, your players, staff would just be hounded by, friends, family, whoever, for injury info?
I wanted to be proactive and not reactive. I'm not saying that happened. I'm not saying that it would happen, but I think it's better to be proactive in those situations and take away even the temptation to even have that in this building and not be that next school that goes down that path, right? We talked about, clearly nobody should have a gaming app on their phone. There are geolocators on your phone for every one of those apps. And so getting those apps off your phone and making sure that there's no geolocators because they know where you are. And there should not be any of those on any of our players' phones or anybody that's in this building. So I think it's just much more about being proactive than reactive than anything else.
How different is this than in the past, at other jobs you had? Because, you gave, a lot of coaches give doubtful, questionable a couple of times a week anyway. How different is this?
I just think it's going to be consistent. I think there have been weeks where, I've tried to do that and then it got into, look, I've had a hard time figuring out the difference between a cruciate and, a posterior ligament. So, and half of the time I think I've been wrong. So it just makes it easier. I think it's cleaner. I think it becomes more consistent, and I think then you have the expectation of knowing what you've got in front of you each and every week as you look at what player could be, probable, questionable, doubtful, out, moving throughout the entire week, and then everybody else does too. Yeah.
Coach Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com.
Yeah, Mike.
Aaron Anderson, now that he's out here and healthy, what do you see in him, and did he flash it all today?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do a lot with him, it was mostly, running him out of the slot receiver. I think there's going to be a lot more to see from him, as we continue to build the offense. I think you'll see him involved in touching the ball in other areas as well, from the backfield. I think you'll see him in the special teams game. So today was the first glimpse. Obviously, he's got speed, explosiveness. He's kind of what we thought he would be. Our strength coaches really liked his work ethic, very strong in the weight room. So I would say that I think we've just scratched the surface in terms of what we can do with him.
Hey, Coach, over here on your left. Matthew Bruni with On 3. When you have the versatility of guys that can play nickel and safety, just how does that factor in, and how does that help y'all when y'all figure out, what y'all have back there?
Yeah, good question. I think the versatility allows us to play, our three safety look. That three safety look for us allows us to rotate, different guys down into the box depending on what their skill set is, and still give us the kind of, coverage, from top down. That's not a luxury that a lot of teams have, and I think we didn't have that last year. But with, Sam's and certainly, Major Burns healthy and Brooks, it certainly gives us now a lot more versatility with three really good safeties, three SEC caliber players that give us great flexibility.
Hey, Coach Kelly, right here in the middle, sir, right here. Hey, when we talked to you at SEC Media Days, it seemed like John Emery Jr. was on track to return to the team. Did something happen within the last
No,
month?
he had to finish up an internship today. Final. He's in great shape. Thanks for asking the question. He has done everything. He has been fabulous to work with. We're proud of his accomplishments, and he'll be with us tomorrow. But he had to get an internship finished up today, finish that paperwork, get that turned into the registrar's office. And instead of rushing out here, with his shoes untied and kind of running on the field, we just said, take care of it. You've gone this far and worked this hard. Get that taken care of, and that's what he's doing today. That'll give us more running backs. As you saw, we had to mirror drills today. We had double drills. We're gonna actually have to do that again tomorrow, and some of the other things to make sure that we get the appropriate work for everybody.
Coach over here. It seems like the competition at center is Charles Turner, Marlon Martinez. How have you seen them progress throughout this past offseason?
I think Turner coming back from the injury, right, was something that we were keeping an eye on. I think he's made really good progress there. I think we've been, following that closely, quite frankly. Martinez, got a chance to play a little bit for us last year. We were pleased with his performance play. He needs to continue to work hard on his weight. We want to make sure that, from a weight standpoint, he stays vigilant there. We can't have him get too far outside some of the parameters we put on him, but he's working on it every day. We're going to work. Bordelon's going to still continue to cross train there like he did in the spring, and we've got Deli there as a backup to cross train there, and DJ, one of our freshmen, will now move over to the center position. So I don't know that we're done there in terms of making final decisions. I think we're going to create a little bit more competition there as the weeks unfold. But you're right in your assertions that it's 1-2 there right now, and then I think we're going to probably focus a little bit after the first 6 practices, and then make that a real point of emphasis, the center position, in terms of battling 2 and 3.
Coach, you touched a little bit on the running back room, rather crowded, but what did you see from Logan Diggs today?
I just watched the technical work that they had going on, and, obviously he's a guy that I know very well, and I know what he's capable of. He's very smooth, he's physical, he's got a great burst, and his ability to stay on the field on all 3 downs. He knows protections, he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. So, I know him really well. He looked good. The question with him was his health. He had a hamstring that we had to work through most of the summer, which limited him, but he looked healthy. And that was really the biggest thing for me, to see that he was healthy today. And he looked good, he felt good, and he just adds to the depth of that room, which is going to be as complete and as deep as any running back room that I've ever coached.
Hey, Coach. Glenn Westco, 247. Just what's the next step of evolution for this offensive line, the starting unit in particular? And now that you have all these guys, the depth, do you guys feel better about the depth that you have across the board on the O-line?
Well, certainly we do. I mean, anytime, you get a situation where you have 4 guys that have started SEC games compared to last year, where you were like, I have no idea. You come into it feeling a lot better. I think Brad's built a great relationship with the guys, that they understand what they're doing, how they're doing, and when they need to do it, which is really important. Offensive line is adjusting on the fly, and their ability to do that now is really the difference in being a successful offensive line. Everything happens after the snap, and these guys now have adjusted to the point where they can handle things on the fly. I think, it'll be an interesting deal, right? I mean, we're going to have to see some of these young guys. We're not going to throw them in there with the first group right away, but it'll be similar to, the evolution of our freshmen last year, where we gradually brought them along and then they took over some positions. You may see that happen again in camp. We're going to give them a little time. I don't really like to set a depth chart the first, 6 practices. I like to let the guys kind of go out there that we're starting, and then let's see how this competition takes care of itself. But I think there could be potential battles on that offensive line.
Hey there, in the middle, Brett Martell with AP. See, when in the new injury report, you mentioned a similarity to the NFL. Of course, all those teams follow the same rules. So, 2 parts. One, would you like to see more uniform injury reporting rules across major college football? And second, when there isn't, and you're having to come up with your own, how do you weigh the benefits of being proactive versus, maybe some coaches, you keeping opposing teams in doubt or whatever about who's playing?
Yeah, I've been doing it for so long, 33 years. I don't know that I've ever went into a game and go, whoa, we got an upper hand today. I didn't know he was playing, or I did know he was playing. I just think it's overrated. I think you're preparing during the week for what you expect. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that we didn't know a particular quarterback was playing and the other guy. You got to adjust on the fly. So I think it's much ado about nothing, and I think we angst over the littlest things that don't really affect the game, and we make too much of it. I don't want it to be a situation where it causes something to the point where somebody loses their job or somebody loses eligibility. To me, that's a bigger issue than, well, we got a tactical advantage today because we found out he was playing. I mean, I'm not going to say it's silly, but let's have a protocol. Here's the procedure. Here's what I'm going to follow. Here's what we're going to do. And it probably took me too long to come to this realization as well.
Coach, has time for 2 more.
Hey, Coach, right here. Shea Dixon with On 3. What is a position group that last year you probably started today as a worry and this year might be a strength?
They were all a worry last year. Honestly, I didn't know, where. I mean, I think if you said to me last year, where's the potential strength, I probably would have said defensive line, right out of the gates, and possibly wide receiver, right? This year, I would say that, strengths would be returning veterans on the offensive unit, like having returners on that side of the ball, and veterans on defense. I think the strength of this unit is returning SEC players, guys that have played football, SEC football, on both sides. So I don't know that there's one particular position where I go, well, that we're just, we're better than everybody. Playing in this league requires more than just athleticism. You have to have the talent, don't get me wrong. But you have to know how to play this game for 4 quarters in the SEC. You have to play it the right way. If you play it the right way for 4 quarters, you can win a lot of games in this league. But you need experience. And I think we have experience, and I think that that's going to be the strength of this football team.
Yeah, Brian, right here. The way you use Neighbors in the bowl game, they kind of really open your mind to how much you can expand his role, the different things he can do.
Are you saying I had a closed mind? Is that what you're referring to?
Maybe so.
Yeah. I think, when you get into bowl games, you tend to have a little bit more of that, throw everything at them, kind of mentality. I don't know that you always kind of carry that into the season. I think you kind of go back to who you are and how you want to do things. But let's face it, he's going to be a featured player for us. And we featured him in the bowl game. So does that mean he's going to throw the ball 3 or 4 times? Probably not. But he will be featured differently than he was featured last year. So I think yes and no in answering your question. You're going to see more Malik Neighbors featured in a manner that you didn't see last year. But I don't know that we'll have the kind of repertoire that we had in the Cheez-It Bowl.